Thursday or Friday?
Wednesday. When he came and told me. So.
Congrats.
Yeah,
1-0.
Yeah, that's great.
What's she weigh?
Does that make you feel old?
No, but it really, really just the thoughts, of your daughter, and it was something special. And 2 days later, my other daughter got engaged, so it was a busy week.
So she was here with it. She was here, right?
Who's that? My other daughter, Lizzie? Hannah. It was in Scottsdale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen her yet?
No. I'll see her. Be able to go see her. After recruiting, I'll get out there. But with
You're walking by that.
the beauty of iPhones and whatever, at least. Now, will I ever see my wife again? I don't know.
Bachelor pad.
Yeah.
So when's the party?
That's right.
Get every leg out.
So, you guys ready to roll?
Yeah.
Good back there? All right. First I want to say I was really happy with how hard our guys played in that last ball game when you take a look at it. I think that second half, defense only being on the field, in that, especially in that third quarter, only whenever it was 6 or 7 snaps. So I just played with a little more consistency on offense, and that was good to see. Energy of our offensive line was really good. And, challenge those special teams. We have a bunch of guys feeling sorry for themselves because they maybe weren't playing all the time on offense and defense, but understanding the importance of what we need out of our special team unit. Saw some guys really make some plays, especially with that punt unit that was not good the week before, and yet those guys took it to heart, and we had some guys really made some big plays on that and flipped the field a couple times. Johnny still needs to work on that hang time, but at least we were down there flipping the field, and that was really good. I thought that was a big piece of it. So, it was fun. The guys were excited, and now they're excited to come back and play another game in the Swamp. Obviously against a team that is really talented. I know the last game they were without a whole bunch of guys, and I'm sure that they'll be all hands on deck when they come in here and play us in the way it should be. This is a good rivalry. Obviously, what makes it that is it's your game in the East-West that is on your calendar every year. I think the fan base enjoys it, and two good football teams playing. And, people in the Swamp, I just can't say enough. Noon tip last week, weather the way it was, they were in it, they filled it up, and it should be a fun week this week. So, looking forward to it. I think, for us, it's a matter of understanding the preparation and what needs to happen. Didn't think we played particularly well, obviously, in the pass defense piece, and yet I think might have caught us a little bit off guard, a little bit out of Andy's, wheelhouse or what that they had shown. They kind of abandoned the run a little bit and really went to exposing us in the secondary. So we're going to have to get that shored up, and the communication piece has got to be really good. This week our tackling has to be spot on. I expect the running back to play his tail off on national TV as I do all their guys, and so we're going to have to show up and play big boy football. That'll be fun to see our guys, see how they respond to that this week in practice. Talking about the disposition of the injuries, as we move forward.
I was going to ask this time.
Okay, I'm just going. Obviously, Luke went in today, or goes in today at 12:45. I think was to put a plate on that, and he's in disappointed, but you know what? All things considered, pretty darn good spirits, and just the way even his hey, Feleipe, go get it. I think that was something that was pretty good. Kyrie Campbell's getting his knee looked at. We'll know that today the results of that. Tyree Cleveland will be out, and expect him to be out anyways in a boot right now. The dreaded, not normal ankle, but high ankle. Okay, which means he should be ready, hopefully, for the spring game moving forward. Other than that, I think Kerry Clark, who we didn't, kind of expected, we got about 19 plays out of him. I don't think he was himself, but what it speaks to is the importance. A lot of guys would have kept themselves out, and he wanted to play, and I thought that was really good. We got some good play out of those young tackles. They're going to continue to, obviously, have to keep coming there, and let's see. That's really it as far as that piece goes. Anything that develops, obviously, I'll let you know on Wednesday.
Thomas.
Two of you guys were named, we got SEC honors, Malik Davis, freshman of the week, and Brett Heggie, offensive lineman. What did you see out of those two guys?
Yeah, well, that's great news. Were you going to let me know these things, or are these guys just keep telling me?
Second week in a row, we've had breaking news.
I mean, holy mackerel. That's nice.
Different.
I like that.
This is a little different this week.
I mean, what does this guy do all day?
I don't know. I'm texting you right now to tell
Are
you.
you going to let me know?
I'm
Yeah.
texting you right now.
No,
You're texting me.
Brett actually, kind of leaned there. He was our offensive player of the week. He's a guy that I think put a complete game together and just really played with pad level, and it was good to see. Now he's going to be really playing against some guys this week. We'll see if he's up to the task. Malik, had some. He continues. He's a guy that they don't get a lot of clean shots on, and he does a great job of keeping his feet moving. No, that's nice. Way to go.
Robbie.
Cleveland's kind of been the go-to guy. Who needs to step up maybe to make up for his loss? He's not able to.
Yeah, he's obviously hit, been a guy on the deep stuff. We're going to have to. These guys are really good in the back end now. It isn't like you're going to run by them. So, I think obviously Freddie and Josh, been playing really good. Those guys, and I think be next man up.
And the secondary were a lot of mental breakdowns, or a combination of both?
No, I think they did a good job with their plan. Obviously, Andy does an outstanding job. Known him a long time, and he found some weaknesses. They did a really good job of isolating their little option route runner on our linebackers. And I tell you, I don't think we did a great job in the film study piece with what our defensive staff gave our guys. Some of the clues immediately based on formation, and I'm not sure we did a great job of communicating that. And yet, they took advantage of it. So they did a really good job of that, and we're going to have to get that cleaned up this week.
Pat.
There are only 5 teams in the country in Division I that have not recovered a fumble this year. You are
And
one
we
of them.
left one How long did that ball stay on the ground on that? Not one this week.
Well, that's the first one you forced all year. Is there a reason for that, or is it just one of those years?
I tell you what, that's good info. I knew that we weren't getting the ball back, obviously. Creating turnovers is something we've got to do, and you know, we haven't done it. We got some picks early, but we haven't had that lately. And you know, for us to continue to, you know, keep working, obviously, on wrapping up and stripping the ball. I think only five teams have never.
You don't want to do the other four.
Yeah.
And also, can you just talk about this year? I mean, will what happened last year even be brought up at all? I mean, having to play the game out there, hurricane, everything like that.
You know, I think people make a lot more of it than it was. You know, I think you know, there's a lot of things going on out there, and you know, I think this is again, I think just historically, these two teams, the fact that you're playing it every year, is something that I think both teams look forward to, because you know you're playing when you're Florida, you're playing against, you know, some of the best players in the country every single year. I think that's good. I think that's what makes the game what it is. And but you know, at the same time, you know, we play the game, and these are two separate teams. They've got guys back, but they've got a lot of young guys as well. So.
Marketing Edgar.
A lot of talk about Frank staring down receivers a little bit. Do you guys see that as an issue internally, and can you fix that in season?
I think just the more he is comfortable with his progressions and where he's got to go with moving the safeties with his eyes a little bit more. You know, things obviously we constantly work on.
So I'm sorry, it is an issue, and you think it?
Well, I don't know whether it's an issue. It is what it is. I mean, it's something something you got to continue to work on. And you know, a lot of young quarterbacks sometimes, you know, stay on one side maybe too long, or whatever that might be. And yet, you know, I think the big thing is you know, being able to move people with your eyes is really the big piece.
Edgar.
Yeah, what other steps would you like to see Feleipe continue to make?
Well, I think his command. I thought we played with a little more tempo when he was in there. We've got to continue to do that. You know, just keep growing with it, and let's just get a little bit better at all positions each week.
And Malik Zaire now has moved into the backup role. What's his mindset? We talked a week ago about how he's putting in so much extra time.
No, he's doing a great job, and again, you know, he'll continue to do that. He'll have a big piece moving forward is what we're doing. We'll get Jake Allen as well. Although, you know, he's been getting some, he'll get a little bit more, and you know, we've got to continue to grow what we're doing with Kadarius, you know, at that position as well.
Ryan.
What do you sense for what Feleipe's tie to LSU, the recruiting process means to him this week?
You know, I haven't even thought about that. I mean, he's a Florida Gator. He gets a chance to go play in the swamp and against a really good team, and you know, until you brought it up, and you guys bring stuff up sometimes that I don't know. Yeah.
That's why we're here.
I mean, I love it. You keep digging the old useless information piece, and I'm usually pretty good about that too.
We've got plenty of that.
Yeah. And the scary part is I do too. It's unbelievable sometimes.
What do you recall though from that process of getting him here and flipping his commitment, making him a
Well, he was obviously a target when we got here. He was one of the best players in the state of Florida, and you know, at the time, I think more than anything for him, probably opportunity-wise, we didn't have a lot on the roster, so I think it was a pretty good fit for him.
Just one lastly, the back to false starts at 31, and then the high snap from TJ where it looked like maybe thought he was under center instead of the shotgun.
Yeah.
How much of that is on Feleipe, or is that not his fault?
No, it's not his fault at all. It's the guys around it, man.
Mark?
Going back to the Wildcat, it seems like you have the quarterback on the sideline for most of your Wildcat stuff. Is that a philosophical thing of?
We did a little bit of both. The week before, obviously we ran it with, we'll carry, yellow, blue, silver, and even green personnel groupings with him being the quarterback. So those are, in fact, might even this week be able to get into some purple with him. So.
But is there some advantage to, I guess, having the quarter? I mean, I guess, is there some advantage to having the quarterback in the huddle and then coming out and splitting, and having the quarterback split out?
I think unless, other than the fact they don't have to go really cover the guy,
But they always do.
That's the horse cart theory. If you put a horse cart out there, somebody will go cover. And yet those guys.
No guarantee Kentucky.
I did not say that. All right. Let's make sure that's clear.
I'll take
that.
He's not very good.
But no, I think a lot of times what happens is you put that guy out there and they kind of take the corner off and inside, and now he becomes part of the box where. What you kind of hope is they got to go cover all the parts with meaning.
Matt over here to the right.
Here's some useless trivia. It's now October, so the first month of the season is done. What did you learn in the first month about this?
Actually, no, because we missed the game, so it's still September. Yeah, but
it says 10/2/2017 on my computer right here.
I better check the milk expired fridge. Come to think of it. I think it's September. That's not good.
You won't even have food in the fridge in a week if your wife's there.
It is kind of scary. But anyway, what's it say? I'm sorry.
What did you learn about your team in the first month of the season?
I learned that we got some guys that are starting to play together, and guys that are been through some things and yet continue to battle. I think we've become better practice team in just how we, and understanding why and what some of the things we do help prepare them for a game. I think that's been really good to see. I really liked the last 2 weeks of practice. Even, during those hot, we had some of those days we talked about where, what they understood, fought through it, and got a little bit better. So this is a team that we'll continue to learn about. And I think anytime you have the youth that we have, that's a natural progression.
Bill, over to the left.
With LSU coming off a fairly surprising loss, is there any need to kind of hammer home to your guys the human nature element of don't overlook this team and that sort of thing, and will you address that?
Us overlook somebody? Wow. No, we know what kind of players they have, and you probably have written about the guys they held out in that game. Probably getting them ready to come here. So, no, that's not at all.
Edgar?
That's fine. Tom's good.
That's fine.
How pleased are you, given the fact that even with several quarterback changes already this year, you've been able to see week-to-week progress on the offense?
Yeah, I think that the week-to-week progress, I'd really put on not only that spot, but really probably other position groups. I think the last couple of weeks, running backs have jumped up. We've created some plays, with those guys on the edge, and our tight ends are playing all three of those guys, which we need to continue to happen. I don't think we talked about those guys enough. Ciante and Goulds and then Morrill really kind of growing up before our eyes. That's been really good to see. So, we just got to continue got to continue to understand that when something negative happens, it's not the end of the world. That, you know, it's one play. So I think we were better at just going and trying to win the next play and kind of clapping off whatever happened the play before, and that's something we got to continue to do. This particular game, I think it's really going to be important that we don't get behind the sticks. When you play a great defense like this with the players that they have, with how hard they're going to play in this game, those are the things that you know, you got to make sure that you give yourself a chance to stay ahead of the sticks.
Edgar?
Was that Cleveland injury in the fourth quarter when he came out?
He got rolled up on
He came out a couple of
sideline.
times.
Yeah, it was on our sideline there towards the end. Yeah,
Okay, toward the end.
headed towards University. That way, I guess, is where I'm standing. Right.
So since you've been here, the defense.
Where?
The field's over there.
Yeah, but
At University.
That one.
University's
Down north.
University's north end zone.
He rolled his ankle on the.
so towards
That was his toe.
He hurt his toe.
He hurt his toe the
It
first
was
one.
towards Canada.
Oh, so he got
Towards,
Canada.
towards Gale
Towards
Lemon.
Canada.
Cuba again.
Towards Canada.
All right.
Since you've been here, Coach, the defense has been extremely strong and kind of the backbone of the team. What do you see from these guys that they need to do to kind of continue to build toward that level?
Well, I think, you know, the tackling. I mean, they played good defense. I think we played better. I think they'll be the first ones to say that. And you know, playing up to the standard. Now, playing against these guys we're going to play against this week, you know, you're going to have to play a little, grab cloth a little harder. You know, you're going to have to do everything in just a higher sense of urgency. And more than anything, we've got to be really good with our eyes. When you look at what they do offensively, and really when you take all the body of work, even from Pitt and even before then, the shifts, the motions, the unbalanced, all of those things to create the window dressing for what they want to do. That's where I think for us, the importance of our film study and being disciplined and communicate and not get lost in all that is going to be huge. And then, look, they got guys who flat run. I mean, you guys cover them in recruiting. You know who they have. So we're going to have to be disciplined.
And you mentioned the other day it's a team game because the offense did kind of lift the defense the other day and Kentucky. But is that nice to finally start seeing it?
No, it is. And I think the other thing I saw were some guys contributing, you know, on the special teams as far as a complete game. And I mean, shoot, you look at Chris Thompson a year ago, and now I think he was active this week in the National Football League, and because of the impact he can make at that, you know, in that part of the game. So our guys understanding the team piece, I really saw that come out this week, and that's a good thing.
All the way back to the left.
Coach, going into the fourth week now, being able to take some game film and work on specific things, tweak things, improve. Can you give some perspective on the coachability of this group, how they respond to instruction, how quickly they learn?
Yeah, no, I think the big thing from the discovery phase for them has been, so why do I do this in practice? In other words, what's the purpose? And then being able to show where that piece actually shows up in a game. And they're kind of starting to understand that it's not just running out of the tunnel on a Saturday, but rather the stuff that goes into it each week to prepare you for that Saturday. And that's where I've seen these young guys really take a step forward, and that's been fun to see.
With Luke going down, obviously it hurts the quarterback depth. Is Kyle Trask progressing with his foot, or is that
No,
going to
he's still a ways away. In fact, he was still on the scooter on Saturday. So,
and then a game like this, obviously a big recruiting weekend for you, a big matchup rivalry. What can this do for recruiting? I know it's just one game, but what can this do for recruiting?
well, I think more than anything, just the atmosphere, being a home game here, and the people seeing the atmosphere of what is the Swamp and wanting to be a part of something really positive is always good. You know, we go head to head on a couple maybe every year, you know, but not a ton necessarily, and yet you know, anytime you get a win and anytime you're playing a team, you want to play well, especially at home in front of all those guys, and something we got to continue to do.
Ryan and then Thomas.
Going back to the tackling issue, Chauncey has gotten a lot of criticism from the fans for that. What have you talked about with him? What have you seen with him that he needs to work on better in that regard?
Well, I think he was in position this week and then, you know, just grab cloth and jump to the ground. But now it's a matter of, you know, keeping your feet moving. And that's really where that is. And yet, I'm glad Chauncey's on our football team. He's a good player.
You're confident that's an area that he's going to improve on this thing so long?
Yeah.
And then going back to Malik Zaire, how have you seen his command of the playbook grow over this last month?
Well, I think he's done, like you said, we kind of alluded to it. I think Edgar was kind of talking about it. It's his, you know, staying involved and kind of what you need to do from a film study standpoint, what you need to do from a verbiage standpoint as far as understanding the system, and each week he gets a little bit better at it.
We'll wrap it up with Thomas.
I know you've had a lot going on. Have you had a chance to think about any ways you can maybe prevent these scooter type incidents? Any rules maybe you put on players?
Well, I mean, you know, we've obviously done the safety, which we do every year. You know, it's something that on this campus is a tough deal, and you know, it's not something we talk about all the time, obviously, and you know, just the horrible happens, and obviously we've had a couple that have come close, obviously, with our family here, you know, and so just learning from it and constantly talking about the awareness and the safety piece. So something that just feel. It's not like we don't talk about it all the time.
No, I know you guys had this on.
Yeah, and
I was just wondering if there's any, you know, if it ever gets to a point where you
mandate helmets or ban them altogether.
Yeah. So, yeah, we live in America. You know, with that, I just couldn't help but when I woke up this morning, just, I mean, the tragedy that happened, you know, in Vegas, and, you know, just senseless. So, all right, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.